Today we're making everyone's favorite lasagna, and if it's not your favorite, hopefully it's about to be because it is my family's favorite, what we call Christmas lasagna. It's in my cookbook. We call it Christmas because it's what we always had at Christmas, but guess what? It's great any time of the year, and it's a super simple at-home version of a great lasagna, and we're gonna make it together. So let's get started. We're making lasagna, but not just any lasagna. My family specifically calls this Christmas lasagna. Why Christmas lasagna? Because we always had it at Christmas growing up. Every Christmas on my mom's side of the family, we had this lasagna. Now, I am not from an Italian family. I am from a Midwestern family, Southeast Iowa through and through, farm family. And this is not a traditional lasagna, but it's the one we always had. And it's probably because it's what was readily available for us, you know, back in when we were growing up, the 80s, the 90s. So this was to me a Midwestern and the only lasagna I knew for a long time, and it's still super nostalgic. And really what's great is it's pantry ingredients that it takes a little bit to assemble, but it's pretty simple, the steps, and it's really delicious. When you think about it, it's kind of a casserole in essence, and it has a lot of good flavor. So we're starting with onion, and I'm chopping them up, dicing them, and I have a little bit of oil that's heating on the stove. Gonna just make sure it's getting warm. And what I wanna do is saute the onion. So when we do this, we're doing layers of flavor and we're building flavor and texture throughout. So instead of just kind of not cooking it and having it not have that right consistency, we're gonna bring out some of the sweetness in sauteing it. And we're gonna, when we do this, I'm gonna, do you hear that? Having that hot oil is gonna make sure it starts sauteing right away. But what we're also gonna do is add some salt to draw out some of that excess water and help it saute even quicker. You can see this is just getting translucent. That's what we want. We don't want a lot of color on the onion. We want them to get translucent. So what I've been doing is mincing up my garlic, which you can do multiple ways. I like a 9-inch chef's knife. You can either put your hand here on that tip end and just kind of run it back and forth in that chopping motion, or when my board is clear like this and it's a big knife, I find it sometimes easy also to leave your other hand free and just go through and do a nice quick chop if it's a sharp knife like this. Really the important thing is to have it minced, because what we want it to do is melt in, add its flavor, and I'm going to here scoop it all up. And what we want to do is not have it burn, so that's why we didn't add it with the onion, because if garlic cooks too long, sometimes, depending kind of what you're using it in, it can burn. So with that, we're gonna add a good dose of Italian seasoning. Now remember, this for me is a Midwest lasagna, so we're gonna utilize dry herbs that are in the pantry. I love pantry staples, like good dried herbs. I like to check mine once a year to make sure they're fresh. Look for anything that's too old. Don't do what we used to do when we were growing up and have them in there forever and never know if they had any flavor or not. So we're gonna stir this in, just kind of blooms and opens those herbs. We did some red pepper flakes with it too, just to have a little undertone of spice that wakes everything up. It's not gonna be hot and spicy, it just adds a little bit of something. And after here, about a few seconds, 30 seconds to a minute, I smell the garlic, I smell the herbs. Smells really good actually. And what we're gonna do now is add ground beef. This is gonna be the base of kind of our meat sauce that we're gonna do. And what I wanna do is really just cook this through. Now, ground beef, you can get different, fat percentages in it. You can get an 85-15, a 90-10. I like to have some fat. I usually go with an 85-15 or a 90-10 at least. And I'm just gonna break it up and let it brown fully. The meat is fully browned now. If there's a lot of excess liquid, you can drain it. Some of that is fat, and I like some fat for flavor. So you can see here, when I'm stirring it, there's a little bit in the bottom. I'm gonna say a tablespoon or two. I leave that. If you wanna drain it more, you definitely can. It just depends how much excess liquid. If you do like an 80-20 beef, there's gonna be a lot of excess liquid. So now we're gonna add a little red wine. We're gonna let this cook down. It tenderizes the meat, but it also adds this wonderful acidic undertone that just really helps bring flavor out. With that wine mostly evaporated and cooked down, I'm now gonna add the final ingredients just to really make a nice sauce. So we're adding tomato paste, a good dose of tomato paste because we're making a whole lasagna. So tomato paste has a sweetness, which I really like, but it also helps thicken this to just that right consistency and has an immense amount of flavor. So without doing a lot more work, we can add a lot more flavor, which is really nice. We're gonna add 2 types of tomatoes, some crushed tomatoes that are in tomato puree. So we're adding just tomato on tomato flavor with that, no water. And what that does is have a little bit of texture compared to the tomato sauce that we're gonna put in that is much more smooth. And I'm gonna take all that out that I can. I don't like to waste any, as you know. And then we're just gonna stir this around. And what I wanna do is let it come to a simmer, and we're just gonna let it finish cooking while we get the white part of lasagna ready. And we're just gonna let it simmer away. The sauce is simmering, and I can actually just hear it slightly. It has this nice little patter patter, which is nice and slow simmer. It just kind of condenses the flavors. So we're gonna make the white component, which you're probably saying, you mean the ricotta component? No, this is a Midwestern lasagna. It's a cottage cheese component, which very similar, cooks really into almost the same consistency and flavor. We're gonna start with a couple eggs, just gives it body, helps give it a little bit of structure after it's baked and when it comes together. I just wanna make sure they're whisked before I add everything. I always think it's easier to start with whisked eggs. So to that, we're gonna add cottage cheese. It was, I grew up with cottage cheese always in the fridge. I don't know, did you? My one grandma served it often for lunch, and we would put lots of black pepper on it, especially during tomato season. We loved it. And I feel like cottage cheese lately again is becoming very normal, but for a long time I feel like a lot of people, like my friends and stuff from other places or other parts of the country, would not be as used to cottage cheese as I was. And I love it. We're gonna add a lot of Parmesan cheese. Now I grated just a good block of Parmesan cheese. I don't want the powder stuff that has other fillers in it. This is just Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. I'm gonna add it right in. Lots of flavor in that, and that's what's essential here. We're also gonna add a good amount of parsley. And in this case, I do wanna use fresh parsley because fresh parsley, if you taste it, it has a lot of flavor. And I think sometimes it gets a bad rap thinking, what flavor? Parsley has a lot of good flavor. And if I get some of those small stems in there, I'm just fine with that. I don't mind the small ones. If they get big, they can be a little bit harder to eat. If you find them a little bit larger pieces like that, I'll take them out. But otherwise, I just wanna give it a good chop. I'm not too worried. Obviously, it's gonna bake into it, so it doesn't have to be a perfect mince. A nice chop is just fine. But it's gonna add that green material to this. It really gives it flavor too. So we're gonna add it all right in there. And then we're gonna, of course, season it a little bit. So we need some salt and some black pepper, It's not a good Midwestern dish if it doesn't have black pepper. But also, I really do just like it. So to this, we're just gonna make sure we stir everything together now, because this really is what's gonna be that component that gets layered with the sauce when it's ready. This has been simmering away. It condenses just slightly. It gets a little darker in color too. More so, it smells amazing in here, and you can really get the smell of that sauce. So we have everything really together that now we can assemble it. We have our cottage cheese component. We have our meat sauce. Lots of mozzarella that I've been shredding. So it's the part skim mozzarella, meaning as opposed to fresh, some of the excess water is pulled out so you can shred it. And you can buy pre-shredded cheese, of course. I don't love it. I think it doesn't melt as well, and I don't like kind of the powderiness of it sometimes on the outside. So I do like to shred my own cheese. And mozzarella can be a little bit softer, but you can shred it and make sure it's just cold when you shred it. When it gets to room temperature, it gets harder. But it is, to me, always just a much better finish on it. And yeah, it's a lot of cheese because we're making a big lasagna. Doesn't have to be for Christmas. This can be a weeknight too. You can even freeze it, and I'll show you here when I like to freeze it at what time. So we have the cheese, we have everything ready to go. What I like to start with is a little bit of sauce in the bottom of the dish. This is what my mom always did too. And it just kind of helps the pieces come out, even though we're starting with a good grease dish too, but it helps the pieces come out later just easier because it adds something against the bottom of that dish. So I'm just gonna spread that out. There's some of the meat in it and everything, but it has a layer then underneath the noodle that helps it just have a little bit of air underneath it, I think. Now, we're using oven-ready noodles, meaning you don't have to cook them. Back when I was growing up, you always had to cook a noodle. And amazingly now, you can get noodles that look just like the ones that I grew up that you had to cook and then do. They come in different types ovens, so if you find just flat sheets, that works too. You'll have to adjust for the amount you want. And some of them sometimes will have ridges, sometimes they won't. I wouldn't let that worry you. It just depends what you find. So what I do is I layer them right in here, and you can see I shingle them just slightly to overlap. So when I buy traditional sized noodles like this, I find that they fit about 5 per layer. And you can just kind of break them up to make sure some of them are fitting in the corners a little bit better. That's what I do. And then if you have a couple pieces, you can put those in there. So after you have that layer of noodles, we're gonna add about half of, and I just eyeball it, half of our cottage cheese layer. So this is gonna get melty in here. It doesn't stay like cottage cheese, but if you notice what I'm doing is kind of sprinkling or dolloping it across because it makes it easier to spread. The noodles obviously aren't the easiest thing to spread on, so if you distribute it somewhat evenly over, you can spread it out. And just like any good helper, the moment I am making a noise that's like spreading something or he can hear a food noise, my dog Kip is right at my feet. Kip. Oh, he says I'm done now because he knows he's not going to get it, but it's kind of the fun part. I love when he comes in instantly because he hears it happening. So once we have that evenly spread or distributed, we can do about half the meat sauce. And again, we're eyeballing it here. And look how glorious that looks. It really is. What I love about it, it feels celebratory just because you're taking a couple extra steps, right? We're not gonna always do this any day of the week, maybe. Maybe you are, and that's wonderful. But it's one of those things where when you have it, it feels, I don't know, it feels special to me. And that's what I love about it. And I think all families have those dishes that feel special. It doesn't have to be. It can just be a moment of feeling special just because it's an extra good dish. So we're spreading it out. And we're gonna do about half of the cheese, mozzarella, over the top of this. And yeah, by the way, we're doing a full dish here. This gets really full, it gets really bubbly when it cooks. It can sometimes come over the edge just a little bit, which is what you want, but the noodles do soak it in. So now we're gonna repeat all the layers one more time. Did you not think it was gonna fit? It's a nice full dish, and that's always what it has been, and that's what it should be. So you want to at first make sure it's covered. So I do spray some foil to make sure the cheese doesn't stick, but then I cover it just because you want to lock in that heat at first and really help cook everything throughout into the middle. I mean, even at room temperature, this is gonna take a while. Now at this point, you could wrap it really well. You could freeze it for 1 to 3 months even. Let it thaw in the fridge overnight. Actually, it takes almost probably 2 days to thaw in the fridge. And then I would still bring it up to room temperature before you bake it, because when it's cold in the center, it takes so much longer to bake. But it's a great way to make it ahead and have it ready to go. We used to do that all the time at Christmas. I'm gonna put it on a parchment lined baking sheet. I'm expecting drips a little bit. Why not catch them, right? We don't wanna clean the oven. So we're gonna take this right over, we're gonna let it bake, and then we're gonna let it cool slightly because it's gonna be hot. So then I'm gonna eat it. This has been sitting out of the oven. Now you can see it gets really nice and dark, and that's what I want. About halfway through baking, I remove that layer that's covering it, and I let it get really browned. And you want to get it hot all throughout. You want those bubbles to go all the way into the center to make sure all the noodles are cooked. Our meat and everything is cooked. Now what you can do is let it sit. I like to let it sit probably at least 20 minutes. There's a lot of residual heat in here. Just like a turkey after Thanksgiving, you want to let everything kind of come back together and not burn your mouth. So then you can just cut generous pieces. It can be however big or small, I guess you want them to be. And I'm doing this, I let myself have a little bit of extra time of it sitting just so on camera I wouldn't burn my mouth, which I have done. And then I have to fight back it like burning all the way down. It's not always easy, but someone's got to do it. And I'm the only one here that can. So I'm gonna get in there, pull a piece out and hope, look at all those layers. This is what I love. You get all those distinct layers in there. We have that cottage cheese layer that's offering what in many cases would be a ricotta layer. We have lots of mozzarella cheese. We have the noodles, we have that meat sauce, and look how glorious that comes out. That cheese is still melty. My mouth is watering if you can't tell. And for me, it's a super nostalgic smell and soon to be taste because this was every Christmas. It's exactly like it should be. It's delicious. It has so many layers of flavor, but they all marry together really well. That meat sauce has that Italian seasoning. That cottage cheese layer has that cheesiness with a little bit of creaminess and that Parmesan that's worked into it. And then the noodles, they're perfectly cooked. You can see having it let sit just long enough makes you can cut a nice piece, and I think that's kind of a good component of it. But this reheats really well. Just cut it into pieces, store it in individual pieces. Sometimes my grandma would always freeze individual pieces so she could pull one out at a time as she wanted them. What I hope you do is learn to have a wonderful festive time where you get together. Maybe it's with friends, maybe it's with relatives, maybe it's with your immediate family, but you enjoy something delicious like this on any day. You don't need a special day like Christmas. Any time is a great time to enjoy a great meal, and that's what this is right here. So as always, the full recipe is on my website, wyseguy.com, also in the description of the video. Print off the recipe, share it around, make this, let me know what you think about it, because I can't wait to hear, and hopefully buy my cookbook if you haven't, because it's in there too. Enjoy.